So let's start with, I think we start with call to order, roll call. Our three regular members or at-large members, Jamie, Baird, and myself. Michael is not here. He's got a work obligation. And then our ex officio members, Lydia from Board of Ed, Holly from Planning, and Joe from Recycling. And then our guests. Great to have everybody.
Mark, only because we are voting on a new chair today, do you want to make a motion to start the meeting? Just to make it
Oh,
official? Motion to
okay.
second that?
I move that we commence the February Simsbury Sustainability Committee meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are official. And
I was feeling very unofficial up till that moment.
good. I'm glad you feel better now. All right, January 2025 minutes went out with the email. I could put them up on the screen if people want to look at them again, or if people had a chance to look at them. I did not have any corrections. I think they were great, very detailed, and a great resource, great jog to my memory. So is there a motion to approve the January Sustainability Committee meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the January sustainability meeting minutes.
All right.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed or abstentions? All right. Let me go back to the agenda. All right. Updates from ex officio boards. So, Lydia, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Before I start off on the report, I just want to say I filled 3 green bags for Clink.
Wow.
I didn't realize they had that many, but boy, so I'm planning to, well, it snowed today, but I'm planning to bring them up there. I'm so happy. I'm so proud that I'm like coming with 3 bags drop off up there. So I'm on a roll here. So yeah, it was great. In fact, when I went in there, the table was there and last week and talked to her and so anyway, and I got 3 people that walked in the Stop and Shop that I knew and I made them come and sign up.
All right.
Yeah, so it's great. So I'm
Clinksters unite.
absolutely clinkers. We move on. So we're going to have our budget workshop this Saturday, and for several hours. So we really start the whole process, or we have been looking at the process since November, December, January. But we're going to go through all the information in reports, that are contained in our budget book, and and this is where we have the time to really scrutinize and finite each item with conversation. So the meeting is open to anyone if you'd like to attend, and we'd love to have you there. So we'll be in the Board of Ed conference room, but it's a good time for us to take a look at what we're planning to propose for next school year and next budget year. So we'll have some very lively, robust discussion, on that. So that's where we are, and then we'll have another meeting, 2 more meetings, and then we're prepared to, present budget once finalized to Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance later on down the calendar.
All right. It's got to be a bit of a moving target with the things going on at the state level.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is. And everybody.
Not to mention the federal level.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I was in DC last week for a conference, and the mood and tone there, it just changed every day. So, and getting back home, as you know, the governor, yesterday had the news conference about his budget. So I can't say we're not nervous about it, but it's always, that game that we play, about not hoping not to cut services, close to students and delivering, the best possible, school district that we can and programs, but again, trying to do the balance. So yeah, so this year will be a very different year, but we really do we're trying to keep the pulse on everything, as we move forward. So that's where we are with this.
Now, do you know, I think the town purchased or agreed to purchase the property on Farms Village next to the high school.
Um,
Are you up on that?
it did pass. It's right near the high school. So I think the board, it's coming up to a vote for Board of Selectmen. So we've all seen it. Board of Selectmen have seen it. I just am not up to date with Board of Selectmen. We'll talk about it Saturday when we're there. But that's the property that we have been looking at for our special ed programs, and the reason why is now we outsource many of our special ed students to private facilities and agencies around the state at a very, very high cost, not only for that, for their services, but for the transportation. So by purchasing this property, this will give us the excess availability to convert that property for all our special ed services and needs and what have you. So it does have an elevator. It's in good shape, and it's close proximity to the high school. So this is something that we have been looking at for a very long time, and we're very fortunate that that property is there next to the high school, and we will utilize it very, very much. So that's something that will be coming down the pike. So
Great.
that's where we are.
All right. Well, if there's a renovation going on there, then let's see if we can advocate for making it very energy efficient.
True, very true. That's it. So anyway, but good.
Good. All right, Holly, planning?
Yes, hello. I'm battling a virus for like a month and a half now, so I'm not really camera worthy tonight. And I just want to say, as I was opening up Zoom, I just got a phone call that my business partner is in very bad condition in the hospital. So
Ooh.
I might have to get off of here to find out what's going on there. So as for Planning Commission, this has been a quiet time for us. We've only, what we need to do when there's a change of zoning or some decisions that have to be made by other boards, we generally have to give what's called a referral, meaning the Planning Commission is being in charge of the POCD, the Plan of Conservation and Development, makes a finding about anything new that's being proposed as to the extent to which it meets a POCD or not. And most of the time it's kind of just rubber stamping. And so we've only had two things come up since the beginning of the year, and neither one of them are really sustainability, but I'll let you know what we did anyway. The first one was the one you were talking about before the zoning commission ruled on the purchase of the land next to the high school. We gave a positive referral for that because, it's a win-win-win-win-win for the town, for the community, for the students, for the parents, for everybody. And and that was in January, and in our last meeting, we gave a referral, a positive referral on the zoning change in a parcel of land that sits between the skating rink and Big Y. So there's a substantial parcel of land. It used to have tobacco barns on it. It's kind of weird. It juts out enough that you make a little jog in the street as you're coming from the north or going up to going to the north for that matter. And so it's being considered to be purchased by people who are also investing in the skating rink. And their vision is to create a little Olympic village of sorts. And for that, they needed a zoning change from commercial application to which could have allowed that to a more general from I'm sorry, a business, an I2 business designation that would not have prohibited doing that to a commercial, a commercial zoning that more gives them a lot more latitude in attracting the investors they need to make this happen. And this is again being spearheaded by the gentleman leading the skating center. Of course, with the tragedy of the last 2 weeks, you know, that's bringing how much that means to us and how valuable of a resource and how emotionally attached our town is to the people who have populated it and have given us world-class skating performance. So they hope to make a bridge between that and the apartments and Big Y. So and the other businesses, the proposed Starbucks and other businesses there, utilizing the sidewalk and utilizing service roads. There will not be any additional traffic lights required. They will use the traffic light going into Dorset Crossing for all of the shops that they want to put there. So we ruled in the favor of that. It increased economic development activity and also maintained a certain ambiance. You know, we were trying to create a sense of place. It's very important to make that not just a bunch of shops like Route 44, but to make it sort of a center where people can live and walk and move around and do things. So that's what we've been up to. Any questions?
Thank you, Holly. They're very interesting. And folks may know that the zoning commission Monday approved 3 of the 4 tools in the new toolkit. The approval process for accessory dwelling units got passed, and the R8 zoning, and then the workforce overlay housing. But the inclusionary or the affordable housing, I guess zoning deferred that because the Housing Policy Advisory Committee met last night. So there's more to come, I think, on affordable housing for the zoning. But 3 of the 4 tools passed. So
That's an exciting time.
yeah,
Exciting time.
yeah. And you know, it was interesting. I went to a couple of those meetings, and you really got the sense that the zoning commission, that this originated out of the POCD, that they really took to heart what was in the POCD, and there was an interest in some more diverse types of housing in town, and then came up with this. And of course, there was lots of controversy, a lot of people had opinions, but it seemed like what they were trying to do was respond to what was came out of the POCD. So it's an important document.
And I appreciate that, but in all honesty, we worked with all of the departments to come up with the goals and objectives, just like we worked with you guys,
Yep.
And we feel that it's most important, if the actual specific suggestions actually come from the groups that have to implement it. So it was a joint effort, and to our advantage, there are hundreds of workers in Simsbury, just like us, volunteers that give up our time for dozens of things that benefit the community, whether it's planning or zoning or sustainability or the Performing Arts Center. And we benefit from that, and we benefit from all of us working closely together on that. So that's what I have to say about that.
Great. Thanks, Holly. Joe, recycling, anything kind of off season for you guys?
No, nothing new with recycling right now.
All right. Well, let's move on to our regular agenda. First item on our list of activities, Power Smart. We have our kickoff booked. I didn't check before we got, is it March 25th? Is that right?
February 25th at
February
6:30 in the library.
February 25th. Thank you. So that's coming up February 25th. Yep, there it is, 6:30 at the library.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it. We have a board of ed meeting that night at 6:30 at boardroom, so.
All right. So we've gotten, I think the flyers, there's been a joint effort, right? Several people on this call, I think they probably know more about it than I do, but the word has gone out on the town publications. It's on our official Facebook page, I believe, and I think other groups in town have shared it, probably the pollinators and the Green Coalition stuff. So let's talk it up. I think it's going to be an interesting, it's the kickoff of this program to raise awareness about primarily storage, battery storage, but in the process, it covers solar and energy efficiency quite well too. So if anybody really interested in just learning about solar, batteries, efficiency, this would be a great event to come and, get your questions answered. So let's try to promote this. Any other thoughts on the Power Smart?
My questions are just around publicity.
Yeah.
What other avenues we should look at. I'm going to send something to the patch. Kevin Beal is reaching out to Simsbury Community Media to see if we can get a little interview on there with our very famous Mark Scully being interviewed about the power of Power Smart. And just, I want to see if there are any other ideas around publicity, Facebook groups, whatever people have about getting the word out.
So you send the Simsbury Sustainability newsletter out, but that's just to specific people. But there is a general news and announcements that the town sends out. I don't know if they'd be willing to put it on that. I think it goes to a broader range of people.
Yeah, it's really a question for Chris and for Danny.
Yeah, I know we've done it in the past, but it's been a while.
That would be really good.
We posted on on the sustainability website.
Mm-hmm.
I'm relatively new, so I'm not familiar with what you're referring to.
Yeah, I'm not sure who. It's a good question.
I'm happy to look into it if you
Yeah,
more
it's
information.
just this general news and announcements is, I think that's.
Oh, on the main Town of Simsbury website page.
Well, yeah, I think they post them there too, but I get an email because I'm signed up for it.
I believe that went out to all subscribers. I'm not sure if it's
Maybe.
subscribers to the Sustainability Committee or if it's
Yeah,
where you have to be
it's
subscribed.
only limited to the Sustainability Committee at this point. And I think since it is endorsed by the town, if we could get it to a broader, town-wide audience, if you all could check on that to see how to get that out a little bit broader, that'd be great.
Yeah, we
I
can see.
look into that.
Is this is different than Wendy Mac's email, right? Or is it? I think so, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Let me see if I can find one that came in at some point.
Yeah.
I think maybe Wendy's comes out through that though.
Mark, have you reached out to Wendy yet to ask her to put it in her weekly newsletter?
I have not. I can do that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Is that for the library, Baird?
What's that?
Is that for the library?
Is that for the library?
That's what I'm asking you. When you said Wendy, is that?
Oh, no, Wendy Maxuda, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Because that was my other question is the library also does a weekly newsletter of events. And I wasn't sure if we're going to be included in that. I think their last one came out on the 2nd for February and we were not in there.
Yeah. So I asked Chris Carney about that, and we're not on the calendar either. And the reason is this isn't a library sponsored event. So like the fair, because it's sponsored by the library, gets on the calendar. This event is not a library event. It's sponsored by the town and the Sustainability Committee. So therefore it doesn't make their calendar.
Okay, got it.
That does not make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I'm sure there's a logic there, right? But I mean, there's so many events at the library. Are most of them, when they have book readings and things, are those mostly sponsored?
Those are sponsored. They're very, it's just, it's the library sponsors their own, posts their own agenda and sponsors their own programs. Other programs or organizations or what have you that use the library are not included in that. So it's a very separate. I think, Susan, what you're talking about is the town website. There is a calendar, and I think if you click on the date, it loads up the events for that day or that night. Because I know I've seen it also.
Yeah, I found something from literally, yeah, years ago where they posted it. It was called News and Announcement, something I had sent them.
Yeah,
Great.
it's through the town
Yeah.
because we are.
And
Email.
check on that, maybe, and Mark, if you could reach out to Wendy, that would be great.
But maybe they don't use that.
I think it's just called news now rather than news and announcements.
Okay, yeah, I think actually when Wendy's come in, yeah. But I don't know what they actually will send through that. So
Yeah,
that,
I'll see if we can send
okay.
the same thing that we sent out to subscribers. It'll just send it to everybody that's subscribed.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Next item is our sustainability fair, which is May 3rd, also at the library. This one is sponsored by the library. Had 2 planning meetings already, right? Bear, would you like to report on the fair?
Sure. So Susan Van Cleef and Mark and Joe and I have been meeting with 5 different members of the library staff. And so we're building on the sustainability fair last year, where we had about 1,000 people. And we're trying to include some new groups. I think one of the really exciting things is we have both librarian who works with teenagers and the librarian who works with children, working with the Avon Sustainability Committee to help really amp up the activities for kids. So I think it'll be a really kid-friendly event with lots of different activities for both younger kids and hopefully some for older kids. So they're working on that really hard, and that should be great. We have about 15 groups confirmed already. And a whole bunch more that we've reached out to. I think the biggest change from last year to this year was we found that the speeches at the same time that all of the other activities were going on did not go terribly well. There just wasn't enough focus on it. There were too many other things going on. So the idea that we're floating this year is to have a little tent with kind of workshops or demonstrations outside. So I think we'll have someone showing how to set up a composter really well, a beekeeper to show a hive and the screens and things like that, and how you do that. No bees there. Hopefully someone who can do backyard chickens. The Land Trust wants to do something where they take a group of people back behind the library to look at invasives and what's there, and be able to point out and identify invasive species in our midst. So that's basically where we are. We're in a good place. It's a little bit easier since we did this last year. We had great contacts, and most of the people who came to our fair last year were very excited about re-upping with us. So it's the progress is going along really well. I had 3 questions kind of for the group. One is I had a snow day today. I didn't have to go to school, so it was nice. Mark reached out to Eversource to try to get their van, and that was already booked. But the Science Center, the Connecticut Science Center actually has a van that they come out and do science stuff with kids. So I put a call into the head educator there, but they do stuff on biodiversity and on energy. And so I was going to try to see whether they might be able to come. invited a couple of new groups that we didn't have last year, one geothermal group and one group that does insulation and other kinds of energy efficiency in the home. And then I found a group, kind of subset of Clean Water Action that has done some work in Middletown and other places called Rethinking Disposables that tries to get different towns and especially boards of education to rethink their plastic usage in the cafeterias. And so they seem to have a pretty active campaign in a few different towns around Simsbury. So I did some outreach to them also to see if they were available. So that's roughly where we are now. One question I had for Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, you're there even though you're dark,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the recycling center that you and Lydia and I went to this summer, do you think that we should invite them to come to show off? I'm trying to think, would it spur people's interest in recycling if they saw that most of the stuff that they recycle actually gets recycled?
Yeah, I can certainly ask them. And you know, I was hoping to, you know, either through a poster, you know, that maybe the library can help make.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know.
they had a little like promo video that showed the really cool, you know, high-tech recycling center. And I forget the name of the woman who does the kind of publicity for them.
Yeah.
I know you were in touch with her, but if you could reach out to her and see if they'd be interested in coming, I think that might be a really interesting way to, you know, we'll put her right next to you so that you guys can be the kings of recycling.
Yeah, however, you know, whether they can send someone in person or not, you know, we do kind of need to get that information out about,
Yep.
you know, that facility and the latest, you know, what's in, what's out.
Yep.
Are they open to like more tours, like another tour?
Yeah. They were very excited about having tours.
Like even a little bigger one, like if we opened it up to the public?
Yeah. They were open to having, they said that several times.
Because maybe if they were tabling or if we had their video going, we could also say, and on June 17th, Saturday morning, come for a tour or something, right? I think it'd be a really
I think that's a great idea because that gives them the exposure, gives us the exposure. Plus, most residents don't even know it exists, where it exists. It's so close to us. And we were excited. I think I can speak for all of us when we attended and went for a little field trip. We came back all excited and revved up to do more and told everybody about it. So I think that would really be a real win-win.
great. Well, the fair is looking great. Really is. It'll be even better. And thanks. You got some new stuff too, Baird, which is great. All right, next thing on our agenda is topic of waste. And I know there have been a couple of meetings and some things going on. Jamie, you want to update us on that or?
Yeah, sure. So we were delighted to hear that the Center for Ecotechnology had renewed grant funds available to potentially help municipalities in advance of some upcoming state legislation on food waste. And we're able to approach Neil Sullivan and Bonnie from Nutrition Services with the availability of some grant funds to help advise should we need to. Squadron Line, being as large as it is right on the edge of where we think the threshold will fall for schools that will have to comply with these new guidelines. It all depends on the tonnage of waste each year, but they're kind of right on the edge there, and probably Latimer's probably not too far behind, I would imagine. So that's one thing that we are looking into. We have a meeting coming next week related to that. Also to be discussed at that meeting is another really exciting opportunity, which Baird had surfaced from the my goodness, carton recycling partners. I'm forgetting their names, but again, grant funds to assist with recycling efforts in the schools. And in this case, we need an elementary school to partner with the high school in order to get those grant funds. That's just how it's written. So that will be another topic at the meeting next week to see, again, given the scope of squad, or I should say the size of squadron, starting with asking Meg Evans if she feels like, Squadron will want to raise their hand to be the partner for the high school on that exciting grant opportunity. So those are the two big pieces from a waste perspective, which is really exciting.
Is
And I don't know, Baird, if you wanted to add more color commentary to that.
Not much, just quick report in at the high school. There really was no recycling program for a long time, and we're up and running, and we have liquid bins, and people are recycling cartons like crazy, and the kids overall have done a really good job kind of switching from not doing any recycling to doing a ton, and our principal, Maggie Seidel, has been wonderful with that.
That's great. We're starting to get some traction, which is really good.
You know what? I'm just thinking that might be a really good, Mark, you're going to be doing a segment over for Simsbury Community Television. Did I hear that? You'll be doing.
That's what I heard, yeah.
You know what? You're voluntold to do that. Why not? Sustainability, part one. But I think because the high school is taking the initiative to do this, if we can create, I'm just throwing that out there, maybe Baird find out, even if the students, in what department is there? I'm having senior moment, but could produce a little vignette or a little video that we could just show or put on SCTV, Simsbury Community Television. Here's what's going on, the good things that are happening within our school district or within our schools. And at Simsbury High School, this is what our students are doing every day, during mealtime. I think because most people do not know that unless, even if you had students in the school. But I just think it's getting the word out about the initiatives that are going on, within our school district. And it just gives, more information so that people know what there is that is happening.
So it sounds like you're suggesting like Baird Faithful maybe should be in that
What do you think, Baird? Would that be something?
community media program?
Even if the students at the high school did a short, 5
Oh,
minute,
even better.
if the students do it, it's putting the students up and, up front and center. So, have the students produce a student-based project about their school recycling.
Yeah,
who knows?
we meet on Wednesday. I can float it. Our little environmental committee at the high school is so cute. They're going around to every ninth grade science class and doing kind of a 5 to 10 minute presentation. We have a little slideshow on recycling, the what, whys, and hows. And so they've done a little over half the ninth grade classes already, and they'll do the next half Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Mhm.
So that's they could use part of that presentation
Sure.
to do a little thing with Simsbury Community TV.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So next item is the newsletter. The February newsletter's out. I think I attached it with the email. It's mostly on PowerSmart. Looks great. Any comments, Baird, or anyone on the newsletter?
Just quickly, the February one is, as you said, it's basically on PowerSmart. The poster and an interview with the vice president of PowerSmart, Bob Wall. Our March one will focus on net zero housing in Simsbury or in the Farmington Valley. And so we have a couple articles on that already done. And then the March and April ones, the pollinators requested to take those over. So there'll be a whole bunch of stuff on, gardening and invasives and planting and all kinds of stuff like that. So they're going to be taking the two spring ones. But that's basically where we are. Chris and Danny were great about getting it up on our website and Facebook page. And it's getting out there and getting around. I've seen it in a few different places and Facebook pages, so that's all nice. So I don't know if anyone has comments about the last one. It was very short, but and pretty straightforward. But
That was very informative, I thought.
Okay.
The questions, that's kind of nice, because people would not normally know what it's about or what to ask about it. So I think it was very informative and concise.
Yeah, thank you.
It is a fantastic newsletter, it really is. All right, I'm just looking. It's up on all of the newsletters are up on our website too. Yep, it's all there. Great. All right. Oh, I put the agenda away. What was next again? The energy plan. The energy plan, is that what you said, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The sustainability plan. So as you know, this group drafted a portion of a sustainability plan. It included energy and waste. We presented it to the Board of Selectmen, to the Board of Ed, and we've gotten some comments back from Public Works, from Tom Roy. And so what I'm suggesting at this point is we've got a couple of things going on with the whole topic of waste. So I would say let's park the section of that plan dealing with waste, because I think that is really more of it's more of a blank sheet of paper at this point, or it's more of a just getting things sort of up and running. But what I'd like to do is nail down the portions of our sustainability plan that pertain to energy. So essentially our energy plan, right? So I reached out to both Tom Roy and Jason Casey. I did that just today. But the idea is let's get a couple of us together and let's go through that energy plan and look at the type of things we talk about: solar, energy efficiency, buildings, heat pumps, and let's work out what we think we can all agree that we will actually do. Right? I think there's some things in there we put in there ourselves. Not really sure whether the town could pull this off. Do we have the resources? Do we have commitment? So the idea is let's come out of this process with a version that and it may be less, it may be a smaller plan, but that's okay. But at least it's something we all agree, okay, we're going to do this now, right? So, and that, the one where I really think there's some low hanging fruit is to get a couple, several solar projects sort of teed up and timed and scheduled, right? Because I think there's several sites in town where we've got potential for solar. We just haven't been able to sort of organize ourselves to get it done. So I think the plan can be a vehicle for doing that. And I think the same thing can be true once we kind of start to get a couple things going with waste. Then all right, let's go back, redraft that waste plan, and again come out with something that we can all agree on. Right? I think that was our sort of goal, was let's use this plan as a way to sort of write things down. Hey, this is what we should do. So it's been a slow process, but I'm determined to get this meeting with the key stakeholders on the energy planning and follow through on that, get that done, within the next month or two or so. And then I think we also talked about then having a public session. And by the way, also on the energy plan, it was or our sustainability plan was in one of the newsletters, and we did get some feedback. I don't know if folks saw it. I think I distributed it. We could take I mean, unless folks have questions, it's probably not worth having a long discussion of that right now. If anybody had any comments on I mean, I think we owe anybody who gave a response or some feedback, some kind of response. And then I think if we can agree on an energy plan, then maybe we have a public information session where we can get some public input on this. But let's see how much we have to actually work with. So those are my thoughts on the energy on getting the energy plan nailed down. Great. All right, our next item of business is we are actually required, I didn't know this, to elect a chair and a vice chair every year. So we haven't actually been following that. That's apparently, I guess, do all committees have to do that? I think.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and I had mentioned, I think at the end of last meeting that I'm going to be stepping down from the committee. I'm not going anywhere, so I'll be around, but I'm not going to be officially a member. So after this meeting, I will submit my resignation. And so what I would like to do now is entertain a motion for a chair. I have a nomination, and so I will open the nominations by nominating Jamie Luchik as chair of the Sustainability Committee. Is there any discussion or any other nominations? Is there a motion to close the nominations?
Well, you need a second, so I will second Jamie for
Yeah,
that
that's right. Let's finish that motion.
as
Good.
as chair.
I think
Thank you. It's my
Good.
honor to accept that nomination.
So any further discussion? All those, so this is, we're voting on Jamie's nomination, right? All those in favor, aye. Aye.
I
Opposed, abstentions. Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the nomination?
I'll
Close.
make motion to close the nomination.
I will second that. So any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
I
So being the only nominee, Jamie, congratulations. And thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone, and thank you for the confidence. This will be good.
It will be good. It'll be great. Yeah. For vice chair, I would like to nominate Baird Faithful. Is there a
I will
second?
second that nomination for Beard Faithful.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? Any further nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, I move to close the nominations. Do we have a second?
second this.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Opposed? Abstentions? So we have a dream team now, Jamie and Baird. So thank you both. I look forward to working with you, and I think some fresh, not really fresh faces. You've been around a while, but at least somebody else kind of taking the helm, I think, is a good thing. So I very much appreciate.
I hope somewhere deep in Simsbury's constitution, it spells out the exact role of a vice president. I would like to know exactly my powers and limitations.
I thought you're in charge of all vice, right?
Excellent.
In absence of the chair being present to conduct the meeting and voting, then that is where the vice chair steps in, which would be you.
Funerals of dignitaries.
Excellent.
We can make you a fun name tag or something.
Do I get sent off to foreign countries when the chair is not interested?
And we can't fly together, Baird.
Okay,
No.
got it.
Hey, maybe we can name a snowplow truck after you. By the way, kudos to Simsbury Public Works. Great job plowing today. Excellent. I was out and saw many of them around.
Yeah, they were out in time for the trash to even come on time, which was great.
They were great. That was great.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And my mailbox is still standing.
All right. Any other business?
So I have
Just at the beginning, Brian, I want to welcome you. Thank you for joining us. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I had a topic, and I sent you an email on this about a week or so, Mark. I'm not sure if you got it or not.
I think I did, and I have not responded. My apologies.
That's all right. I'll bring it up now. This kind of started out as a personal question I had, and as I researched it, I realized that the answer depended upon our town facilities. So it evolves around, your kitchen sink food waste disposer. So like your InSinkErator product, right? Now I've always known that it's not good to throw, food waste in the trash because it ends up in the landfill, which creates a lot of methane. But I got on the topic of, is using the InSinkErator or food waste disposal a better option than, say, home composting? And it turns out the answer really depends upon your town's wastewater treatment facility. And, for most people, they think, once it goes down the sink drain and gets, InSinkErated and shredded and off, to wherever, it's out of sight, out of mind. But you have to, follow that material, that solid material, and ask the question, what happens to it eventually? And so, if your town wastewater treatment facility simply takes the solids that are filtered out and sends them off to the landfill, then you really haven't achieved anything. But if your town's facility has, facilities for, anaerobic digestion to create, energy, or, takes that solids and makes fertilizer out of them or whatnot, then, that's obviously a much better usage. So, I use the InSinkErator. I find it very useful, but, if our town facility just simply takes that solids and ends up shipping it to the landfill, then I might as well throw it in my own trash. Or, of course, do home composting. So number one, I'm just curious to know, what does our town wastewater facility do? And number two, would that information be of interest maybe to the broader community? Because I think a lot of people maybe never really thought about this, even if they are more sustainability minded. So it's just something I bring up. I don't know, I'm assuming somebody has connections to the wastewater treatment facility for Simsbury, and maybe they can ask the question, and maybe this is something that could get tied into the newsletter in this spring with home composting or something like that. But anyways, I just thought I'd raise a question.
I think that's a great question. Daniel, Chris, do you know who we would talk to find that out?
Yep. So our water pollution control superintendent, Tony Piazza, would be the guy. Tom Roy would also know. But we could touch base with the two of them and get you a formal answer.
That'd be wonderful.
And I happen to be meeting with Tony on Tuesday, so I'd be happy to ask him. It is a really, I love Brian, your logic of, it's not just it doesn't just disappear when you wash it down your drain or whatever, right? We need to think of where these things go. So that's a really great question. I don't know the answer. But so thank you for raising it. And again, apology for not getting back to you on this, but let's get an answer. I love these kind of facilities, and I don't know if anybody else would want to, gosh, go tour the water pollution site. Susan, I think you're on mute. Were you speaking to us? Yeah. Oh.
I know there was a tour maybe 20 years ago or something.
So it's
So I'm
time.
sure that what they do is different. I don't really remember about the solid waste part of it anyway, exactly how they processed it.
Yeah.
But that just occurred to me that, that might, where does your water go? A lot of people have their septics here.
Yeah.
But that's almost like a good topic for the sustainability fair, for people to understand a little more about that and saving water and things like that.
Oh, and Susan, you sparked a thought, when you think about where does your water go, it's also, storm drains, separate topic, right? But the idea of the runoff and how things go from your lawn into the storm drains and such. So maybe as a broader topic of where does your water go, whether it's your home wastewater or what's rolling off your lawn, that could be a very interesting topic.
Absolutely.
People aren't really aware of the implications sometimes.
I will follow up with Tony. And then, yeah, so we'll report back to the next meeting.
Mark, are you gonna take that action to talk to Tony, or would you like me to take that
Um,
and answer Brian's question? It's up to you.
why don't, he actually reports through to Public Works, right? I think,
Yes, yep.
yeah, so why don't you do that? If I hear anything on Tuesday, I will report back. But it might be good if you,
Okay.
sort of work your official channels, yeah.
One
Um,
question I
Could you
had,
forward me Brian's email?
Yeah,
Great. That way I don't misrepresent the question.
yeah, one question I had is, like I have a septic tank and when they pump it, where does the truck go? Does it go to Simsbury to dump it or does it go to somewhere else?
I guess
It
it
goes to
depends.
Simsbury.
Yeah, okay.
I see most of them driving
They
down
choose
Drake Hill.
Simsbury.
Right.
Yeah,
If they choose Simsbury, it goes there, but they could choose another water treatment facility.
Uh,
But it doesn't go down the drain or anything like that, or into the river or anything like that. It gets treated.
I'm gonna guess they processed it all there too, right? I don't know the answer to that. Be good, but I'd be curious to hear the answer. But I don't see them. Brian, one of the options sounded like taking this, filtering or pulling out the solid waste, and then essentially taking that to a landfill or something. I don't see that happening, so I'm guessing they've got processes that deal with
Well,
it.
it has to go, the solid material has to go someplace, right? So, I've read like your larger towns and cities, maybe have access to anaerobic digesters or something like that, where they can create methane that gets used for power generation. But your smaller towns may not have that option. I know some places maybe have it turned into some kind of fertilizer type material. I don't know how prevalent that is, but I do know that some places just filter it out and send it off to the landfill because they have no other option for using that material. So
Yeah.
I just had no idea what our town does. And again, if all they do is filter it out and ship it off to a landfill, then it would be much better for me personally to set up a small home composter and put my food scraps in there instead of sending it down the sink.
Yep. Well, it's great. Great question. We'll look forward to hearing back next meeting. All right. Any other business? So actually, on our committee, when I, had made this decision to step down, I talked to the clerk, Trish Monroe, and we got the roster for our committee, and we actually have somebody on the roster who has not come to a meeting for years, Bob Beinstein. So Bob presumably does not want to be a member. So we actually have two, with me stepping down, there are actually two empty at-large members. So keep in mind, I think there is a protocol of the replacements need to be of the same political party. But I also looked at the list and we had an awful lot of Ds. So I'm not sure. I think Bob and I are both Ds. So well, in the process of maybe I was actually talking to the clerk about this the other day, and she's going to check whether when a D steps down or a Republican steps down, it goes to the party, the town party, and they typically want to appoint someone or find someone. So just keep in mind there are two vacancies, and as we learn more about how we can fill those. But if you know people who actually like to, we love to have folks helping out whether they're members or not. But we also, if people are helping, then let's recognize that by putting you on the committee. So
Mark, when it comes to Bob's vacancy, I'm not sure if we need to officially remove him from the committee since he hasn't really touched base with anybody.
yeah,
So that might be something. I'll touch base with the town clerk and see if we need to make any action there or maybe
Yeah.
vote to remove him.
yeah. I was chatting with her the other day. I think years ago this came up, and I asked him to just send a resignation letter, and it never happened. And then, so Tristan and I were saying, well, if he hasn't come, then you could remove. I think it's even in the bylaws or something. You know, we can
Okay.
remove. So either way, whatever. I don't think Bob wants to be on anymore. So terrific. All right. Any other business? All right. Hearing none. Well, thanks all. Motion. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn. And unfortunately, as I said, I can't be there for the Power Smart evening, so I hope it doesn't snow that night and you have a
I
good
know. Yeah.
attending.
Yep. All right. So that was the motion. I'll second it. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Thanks, folks. Have a great evening.
Great.